bad shots, bad contact, and just lots and lots of swing thoughts really can make the golf swing feel like such an impossible movement to do well and do consistently well. Well, today's video, I'm going to show you the easiest way to improve your golf swing, irrelevant of how old you are or what level you play at. So, that's quite the intro, wasn't it? Now, the big thing for me, the golf ball doesn't really understand what's going on up here. It only understands what's happening at impact. So kind of what the contact with the ball's like, where the club face points, and the direction the club's moving through impact. So wouldn't it be great if we could get a little feeling in our golf swing without thinking of every part of our body to improve where the lowest point of our swing is so that we hit ball and then ground first. We get the path maybe a little bit more from the inside, because a lot of you golfers out there see that movement on the way down, and get that club face pointing much more towards target with that forward shaft lean. Yeah, sounds great, doesn't it? Now, the problem I see with a lot of golfers is a lot of people are told about kind of moving their weight correctly. And I think when I see people moving their weight, what we generally see is a big move off the golf ball. And then obviously you've got to move back a huge amount in a very short space of time. And I think the golfers that do that, generally speaking, really struggle to control where the lowest point of their golf swing is. And as a result of that, really struggle with contact. So when I'm talking lowest point of your golf swing, when we look face on like this, the club moves in a circle around my body. So on the backswing, the club moves up, then it moves down, reaches its lowest point, which should be in the ground and should be after the golf ball, and then obviously continues back up. So the first thing we need to work on is how are we going to make sure that the middle of our circle, which then lines up with the low point, is in the correct place. So what I want you to kind of understand a little bit today is we're going to work as to how you're going to feel, not the weight, but the pressure your feet are pushing into the floor. And the first thing we're going to work on is in the backswing, we're going to feel that on the way back, the pressure, you feel like you're pushing into the ground on the inside of your right foot or your trail foot. And we're going to feel that as a practice swing first. And straight away for a lot of golfers, they'll feel that the weight does move that way, but it's a little bit more restricted, which allows that hip to turn back rather than sway from the golf ball. So once you have a few practice swings, feeling that the weight only gets onto the inside of that right foot, hit a couple of shots and see how that feels. So I'm sure straight away you'll see there that my low point is now 4.5 inches after the golf ball. The club is traveling down 5 degrees. Actually, my club path was 0. My club face to the path was slightly closed, which is why that went to the left, and a carry of 169. But that felt absolutely effortless. Now, as a result of that, obviously we saw that my path, the direction the club was moving at impact, was actually very, very straight. But even with that movement, I think what a lot of golfers will tend to see is they're going to focus on getting the pressure pushing on the inside of that trail foot. They're going to set up. We'll probably still see the ball curving from left to right. And even though that's very manageable there, we can see a great low point, but we can see the club path 9 degrees out to in, club face 7.6 degrees open. Now with a 7-iron in my hand, that's not too bad. But as the clubs get longer, that shape's going to get more and more exaggerated, and it's really going to make it tough to influence the golf ball correctly. So once we've got that correct movement on the way back, feeling it pressing down on the inside of the right foot. The way we're going to start our downswing is we're going to push off that lead foot towards the target. Now this is huge for shallowing the club out, because most golfers get told that they just need to turn their body out of the way. Now if I get to the top and then just turn, we can see where that club's going to go. It's going to go much more out in front of me and then I have to work across. So what you see with all the best players in the world, when they get to the top of their swing, their first movement is actually off that back foot towards the target. And when we look down the line, when we do that, we can see that club shallows, goes behind me. Then as the body rotates, the club comes more out in front of me, and that's easier to deliver the club from the inside. So we're going to load onto that trail foot, and then we're going to push off that trail foot towards the target. I'm going to set up. So again, strike was good. We saw 2.8 inches after, club moving down 3.4 degrees. Club path now 5.8 degrees from the inside. Club face 0.6 degrees closed, so that one there just not quite shaping back to target. But if you're somebody who was hitting the ball like I was at the start of the video, poor contact, the decent contact, club face feeling wide open and out to in, some little pushes that are going a good distance will seem like a really good bad shot. So again, let's set up, let's focus on pushing on the inside of the foot, and then just as the club's starting to get to the top, push off towards our lead foot, and again, let's see how that feels. And that feels absolutely incredible. So low point 3.9 inches ahead, angle of attack, club traveling down through the golf ball 4.2 degrees, club path 3.6 degrees from the inside, and club face 3.2 degrees closed. Definitely if you're a fader or a slicer of the golf ball, that's potentially all you need to work on to really improve your golf swing. Now, there'll be a few of you out there though that maybe you're a natural drawer of the golf ball, maybe a hooker of the golf ball. Now, what I would say is potentially you already do those first two bits really, really well. But what you'll see is as you're traveling down, that knee starts getting ahead of the ankle. The hip then can't move out of the way, and it's all hands and arms. And this should be a pretty easy one for me. Lots of those as a kid. So we see low point ahead, which is great. Path from the inside. But my hand's really getting involved, and the club face 12 degrees closed. So the extra little bit that you need to add in, and potentially you don't need to think of those two things if you're someone who hits that shot, is as you're moving towards the target, when you feel the weight's moved from trail foot to lead foot, you want to feel that that leg starts to straighten a bit earlier. As the leg straightens, that lead foot pushes into the ground, the lead hip turns out the way, and that's going to keep everything much more passive through the golf ball. So if you're a drawer or hooker of the golf ball, we're going to focus maybe a bit more on our lead foot, straightening that leg a little bit earlier in the downswing. Felt good? And definitely for me personally, that's a nice feeling in my golf swing. Low point 3.6 inches ahead, angle of attack 3.8 down, club 3.2 degrees from the inside, and the club face just under a degree closed. So really, if you're somebody who slices the ball and creates that big out to in movement, we need to get you loading correctly and early into that right leg, driving off that trail leg so that the club shallows, That's going to change your path and get your low point ahead. If you're a hooker of the golf ball, you need to probably be a bit more leg orientated and feel, like we said, on the way down, you're probably shifting that weight quite nicely, but straightening that leg. Now, you might be one of those golfers who needs to think about all of it. Now, it can be difficult to have so many thoughts, but let's try it. And I would expect with me, if I do this well, to create a little bit more speed and potentially just hit the ball a little bit further. So swing felt good, just felt a little bit out the toe. So low point was only 0.2 inches ahead, so the club was very shallow through the bottom, but we can see club from the inside, face slightly closed, there's a little draw, even with the miss hit getting out 165 yards. And like I said at the start of the video, this is such a simple and easy way to improve anybody's golf swing, whether you're fairly new to the game or whether you're a more experienced player. We can't swing the golf club without pushing into the floor. So if you learn to use the ground correctly, you're going to swing the club better, you're going to hit more good shots, and you're absolutely going to start loving your golf again. So guys, hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, like it and share it, comment below and I'll get back to as many people as I can. I'd also love it if you just took a second to hit the subscribe button below, ring the notification bell, and then you'll find out whenever I drop a new video. Now there's another video just there that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.